Welcome back to the Unlockable podcast. My name's Christian, and I'm joined as always by the Game Girl Advance SP herself.
That's me. How's it going?
And I can't see you, I can only hear you.
Yeah, I know. Which is weird because usually we do it where we can see each other, but they can't. And then we switch to they can also see us, and now nobody can see anybody. So we're primitive over here, and that's my bad.
Hannah, your internet's trash.
I know. What? Yeah, that's my bad. 2 months though, and we're moving, so hopefully it's better.
So all of that is to say, hey guys, we got the cameras turned off tonight. We're gonna deal with audio podcasting for 2 or 3 more months, and when Hannah moves to her new place, she promises to have lightning fast internet, an Ethernet cable. She's going to have 4K video quality.
Oh, okay. Sweet. Man.
So we're gonna deal with that for a little bit. But how are you, my friend?
I'm good. I just started a new job. I am I guess technically a data analyst, but I'd like to be in the technology field. So that's been exciting. I'm learning a whole lot. If anybody knows about like databasing and like SQL and stuff, that's like what I'm doing. And I've been super busy. Can't lie.
I'm glad that half the podcast is employed.
Yeah. You better get on it, man. How are you gonna fund all those games you buy?
Yeah, I really have been not buying so many games lately. It's been rough.
I don't know how you survive. You're usually the only person who talks in our been buying section.
You know, it sucks that like I chose this hobby to be passionate about that like pretty much requires me to spend money. It's like, yes, I play video games, but then there's like the hobby of collecting them. That's just like, what is the hobby exactly? It is going on the internet and just wasting money on plastic garbage.
Yeah. Well, it's different if it's like a meaningful game to you or like, you know, something that you've just always wanted since you're like a child. But like the trash that is like unplayable garbage that's like $1,000 just because only 6 people bought it back in the day, that's where it hurts, I think, a little bit. You know?
I feel like you're really attacking me right now. What are you coming out swinging tonight?
Sorry, I can't help it.
I don't understand. Hey, that was so uncalled for.
I'm so sorry. Well, okay, hold on. I'll say this. I do really enjoy coming over to your place and looking at your stuff because you spent all the money on it and I get to appreciate it. You know what I'm saying?
How else would we have experienced Phantasy Star Online 1 and 2 Plus on the Nintendo GameCube?
You're absolutely right. Yep. That's it. That's what it's for. And I appreciate it.
You're a freaking jerk, dude. Go get a new host or something.
Sorry. I don't know why it's spicy. Can't help it.
It's episode 66. We are going to be talking about historically significant games. How am I doing? I'm doing well, Hannah. Thanks for asking.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so thrown off. I can't see you. I can hardly hear you. My headphones are broken. I don't know what's happening.
Not to mention, this is the second time we've started recording this.
Yeah. How's it going?
Life is well. I actually got this crazy cold a couple weeks ago. I got put on antibiotics and steroids, and I just finished the antibiotics last night, and tell me why I'm still coughing. It's been 2 weeks.
Dude, yeah, that's crazy. I also had a cold that lingered for like 3 weeks. I didn't feel bad. I was just like congested.
That's super annoying.
I hate it. I hate being sick, but who doesn't? You know?
I rarely get sick, honestly. Like I pride myself in how little I get sick. Cough.
As you cough. Dang.
I'll just apologize in advance. There shouldn't be too much coughing, but there might be a little bit.
Man.
Other than that, life is good, man. Life is very good over here.
That's cool, man.
I got a couple of introductory things to discuss. We are trying out Google Forms now. You may have seen it on Discord or our Instagram stories. So if you would like to write in to the Unlockable podcast, you can now do so via Google Forms link. We're going to have a new link for each episode, I think. And I guess it's in the trial phase. It went well. We got some good responses this first time. and you guys aren't limited by short text boxes. Like, you have so much room to write now, and some of you really took advantage of that. We appreciate that.
So somebody wrote a whole essay, and that's awesome.
I'm here for it.
Me too.
Um, so I'm hoping that like this could be a regular thing. I think it'll be good.
I like it. I think we should stick with it.
And I guess that was it. Anything else you want to discuss real quick? Any introductory discussions?
No, I don't think so. I think you nailed it.
Well, today we're talking about historically significant video games, but we're not going to talk about... I want to talk about the intention of this episode. So, really what we're focusing on here is the why. Why would you be interested in playing historically important video games? Why would you go out of your way to play something that is maybe not your favorite genre, or maybe is 30 years old on a console that you barely know anything about? Why would you do that? We're not here to convince you to play any certain game. We're not here to convince you to say you're not a real gamer unless you've played Wolfenstein 3D. That's not what this episode is about.
Right.
It's also not going to be a deep research episode where we say this was the first game to ever include a map. That is like an entire episode on its own.
Yeah.
It would require hours and hours of deep research, and you have to go into like, it's not just like NES games that released in America. It's like 80s PC games that were only in Japan or Europe or something. Like, you have to do major research.
Yeah, and I think there's an episode, I don't know, maybe in the future with that kind of concept, but that's not this one.
Absolutely. With all of that out of the way, I think we're going to start off with the main question here. Why would a person want to play historically significant games? Would you like to kick us off?
I sure would. So I have a couple points here. I think the main one is that it shows the evolution of gaming, right? So you're looking at something that came out literally like 50 years ago, and you're like, wow, that is crazy. That's where we started. And just a couple years later, we had these massive, huge 4K like VR games. It's kind of cool to see like where we kind of started from. It shows the roots and mechanics. So like you were saying, map is not something that gamers were blessed with back in the day. Gives you appreciation for what you have now. Like saving your progress wherever you want.
Oh, that's a good one.
Is a relatively recent concept, right? So it's not something that you could do all the time. So it makes you really appreciate exactly what you have now. It's good for, and this is just a minor thing, but like understanding cultural references and like other games, movies, or like even memes. So many gaming references all the time that just go over like normal people's heads. But if you know where they're coming from, then you understand. You actually get it. Another one is you see how developers like solved problems, like their limitations, like extreme hardware limitations. So I think that's really cool. Like, oh, this developer, I can't remember exactly what it's called, but they turned into like polygons when you're far away, so that it can kind of load things in faster. I don't remember what the technique is called, but stuff like that.
Oh yeah.
Is where they really learn to like utilize the hardware that they have. And this is also a kind of minor thing, but you actually get to like experience the past. So unlike reading old books or like watching old movies, you actually get to like experience it. You get to play it as a player, which maybe doesn't seem as significant, but like playing the game implies that you're learning and like adapting to like the gameplay style of that time. And I think that's really special.
I think that was super well put. I like that one a lot.
Thank you. So yeah, that's just a few that I wrote. What do you got?
Yeah, I think this is kind of the main topic, or like this is the main bullet point here, the main section that I want to discuss here. So I am going to go into detail a bit, but to answer this question, I kind of want to go in and like make analogies to other forms of art and media. So essentially what I'm asking is like, some games aren't fun to play in 2025, but like, are they still worth experiencing? And so let's take movies to start off here. If you're me, you just watch what you like. I go to the movies multiple times a month. I watch freaking every Marvel movie. I am so happy walking out of the theater, dude.
Yep.
99% of the time, and that's probably that's probably accurate percentage. 99% of the time I go watch any movie at the theater, I am so happy. I walk out of there and I'm just like, I just had a great 2 hours. I
Yep.
sat there with my oversized bucket of popcorn and I just had my giant Diet Coke and I'm like so happy. The movie was great. Like
Yep.
I don't analyze movies. I just watch, smile, laugh. I fall for the jump scares and I just enjoy what I'm seeing.
Wow.
And why do I bring all this up? Because I'm not a movie buff, okay? Critics go see a Marvel movie and they just tear it to shreds.
Ugh. That makes me so angry, but that's another topic.
I am so easy to please with movies. Um, but there are things you can study in movies. There are like objective things you can look at that make you more of an experienced movie watcher if that's something you're interested in. Things like the camera style, the lighting, the editing, the acting performances, the special effects, the music and sound effects. There's like so much
Yeah.
to study,
Yeah.
and it's the same way with video games. Let's talk about music real quick. I personally listen to like 3 genres of music tops. I am so single-minded with my freaking music, and I'm very well aware of that. But I have no desire to branch out to other music genres. I have like someone who truly appreciates music is gonna dive deep into all genres.
Right.
That person would study the instruments, the harmony, the lyrics, the live performances, maybe the music theory. Who knows what else?
Dang. Yeah, you're totally right.
So where am I going with this? I'm not listening to Mozart. I'm not watching Citizen Kane. I just want to watch the movies that interest me. I want to listen to the music that makes me happy. But with video games, I feel a little different. And it's got to be because it's my main hobby, right? It's got to be because I'm someone who spends hours and hours online talking to you every month about this stuff, eating, sleeping, breathing video games. Like, I personally have a desire to experience historical firsts in video games.
Yeah.
Now, you might be listening to this and you don't ever want to sit down and play Final Fantasy 1, and that's like totally fine because video games were invented as something to relax with, something to chill out with, and you don't want to study when you're trying to play video games. Like,
Right.
that's a completely normal thing to feel. So I'm like I said at the beginning, this is not an episode where I'm trying to convince you to change how you play or what you play.
Wow. It was very well put.
Like you said, it's about seeing the evolution of games. I want to see what games got us to the point we're at today. Things all of these pieces of media have in common. You're going to be exposed to styles of movies, music, literature, video games, etc. that you're not a fan of. It's just something that is required of studying historical significant games. And I'm saying study. I'm not like we're not really studying, but I think it's an appropriate word.
Yeah, at least analyzing maybe, or just
Yeah.
like, I don't know, taking a deeper look at things, if you will.
Another thing they all have in common is, like, you brought this up, but it's a timepiece. You're experiencing something from an era completely different from the one that you lived through, or maybe you did live through it and you're remembering what things used to be like.
Yeah. Like, once upon a time, Pac-Man was like the coolest thing in the world. Now people are like, yeah, I'll play it if it's at a bar or if it's free or whatever. But it
Right.
used to be the thing.
So video games as timepieces, specifically, you can see how society and culture can be shown vastly different in a 90s game versus a 2020s game, right?
Yeah.
See things like current trends. And then there's like the game design philosophy, which you brought up the saving thing, which is a big deal. But how about just like how brutally hard NES games used to be?
Yeah.
Like, it was, and arcade games as well. Games were literally designed to suck your money out of your pockets. Like, you would go play Ghosts and Goblins at the arcade and just keep putting in quarters so you could finish the game. It wasn't designed for you to beat it in one try. It was designed to steal your money.
Steal little kids' quarters right out of their pockets and couch cushions.
And that's just something that we don't see today.
Yeah. Literally every arcade that I've been to in the past 5 years is you just pay one fee to get in, and then it's unlimited, which is
Yeah.
honestly the best way to experience some of these games. Like Dragon's Lair, that was crazy. I could not imagine having to scrounge up that many quarters.
Dude, I even on free play, I cannot make any progress on Dragon's Lair. I don't understand what I'm doing wrong in that game.
That might show up later in this episode.
Audience targeting is another one. You can kind of analyze, like, games were for kids back in the day, and now the target audience has broadened, and I think that's very interesting.
Yeah, it's interesting to see the wide appeal of video games now versus even 10 years ago, but especially like 30, 40 years ago.
And the most obvious ones, the most obvious example of like a video game as a timepiece is technological constraints.
Yeah.
Another thing that you already brought up.
But
So how do
yeah.
you classify something as historically significant, Hannah?
Let's see. I think the main thing to look at is like the impact that it had, both on like people's lives or like the industry as a whole, culture, like anything that it has touched in its, in its, I don't know, introduction or just even the longevity of its life.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So, did it inspire other things? Is it one of those things where it's like, oh yeah, we played this a lot during development and we implemented these things, blah, blah, blah. Is it something that people reference when they're explaining other things? Is it something your grandmother would know? I think that's a really good caliber of how, something, the stay power of something.
Yeah.
Another thing would be, did it create like a huge trend? Is it one of those games like, to bring up an example of Animal Crossing, everyone and their mother and their grandmother played Animal Crossing during 2020, like when everyone was stuck at home. And that was something that was super culturally significant, and everyone jumped on the bandwagon. Another example of that would be like Among Us. Like so many people were playing Among Us at the time. It was wild. And then how far did that influence go? Did it transcend borders? Did it transcend cultures? Is there something here that started really big in the US and then other cultures decided to pick it up? Or even like in Japan. And then it was so widespread that it jumped over here to the Americas, which was unheard of really in the past, but now is something with the internet and like streaming and all that stuff. Super relevant. This one might not be super big, but did it bring people together either for better or for worse? Like, did everyone come together to think, oh my god, this is the best game that's ever, been created? Or was it like, this game is absolute trash, I can't believe they're charging $80 for it? Like, was there a sense of camaraderie when they were shitting on it, if you will? Another thing is, was it groundbreaking or like the first of its time? Like, obviously, like you said, we could do an episode on like the first of everything, and I have some of those kind of in here, but did it really develop something or really bring something to the table that was absolutely new? Like, obviously it could be an RPG, but did it bring like this excellent element that no one had thought of before that's completely new? In other words, did it reinvent the wheel? And is it still talked about today? Or do you think it will still be talked about in the future? I think those are all kind of good basis of where to start if a game is historically significant or not.
You pretty much covered everything I wrote. Maybe a couple more here. The first time a graphic style is used. You said
that's a good one.
You said reinvented the wheel. Like, did it invent a new genre entirely? The first in a series that would end up being incredibly successful. Like Mario, I don't know about Mario. Donkey Kong had Mario, but like literally any series. Zelda 1, Final Fantasy 1. Like, I don't know, people don't talk about Final Fantasy 1 as much as they talk about like Final Fantasy 7, but Final Fantasy 1 started the series, so it's obviously a big deal for that alone.
Right. No, that's a good point.
Showcase titles that pushed hardware limits is another good one.
Oh, that is a good one. Actually, yeah. And then, like, something like, I think I might have this example later on, but, like, we always talk about the Wii U, how, like, cool it was that Zombie U was, like, one of the best games to freaking use the gamepad. Something like that.
You know what I found out about... Yes, that's a very good point. You know what I found out about Zombie U is that's actually, like, a sequel to, like a Commodore Amiga game from like the 80s or something called Zombie. It's also a Ubisoft title.
Huh.
Maybe not a sequel, but definitely like a revival.
I did not know that.
Yeah, that's a weird little fact for you.
Oh, interesting. Write that one down. Episode.
Needless to say, there's no cut and dry definition of something being historically important, I guess. And if I were to compare it to comic books, like you think about like the 90s, you had the death of Superman. And that's just like a seriously historic I'm so sorry about the coughing. That's like a major historic moment in DC Comics or just comic books in general.
Yeah.
The X-Men, the Uncanny X-Men coming out, and then later they came out with X-Men #1 and revived the franchise, and I could go on and on, but things like that are major moments in pop culture history, and I don't know if I was really going anywhere with that, but the tangents are there to be made in all forms of media for sure.
Definitely. And I think even for this list, or these lists that we're about to kind of go over, I was trying to remove my own personal, like, what is significant to me versus what is significant, like, as a culture or, like, overall. So, like, just an example, and I do have it on the list, so maybe it's a bad example, but Super Mario 64, it's, like, is it the greatest Mario game? I think that's arguable. But it was so groundbreaking at the time that it was, like, a 3D action adventure. But, like, or platform or whatever, not action adventure. But, like, I know that's significant to me, but it was hard to kind of remove it. Like, oh, is it significant to other people? And that's a good example because, yes, it is. But,
right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, for sure. It can't just be in your personal history it was significant.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, let's get into some examples then of historically significant games and maybe even talk a little bit about why they are significant. And like we said, we haven't done deep research, so I'm not here to tell you that this is the first time ever this has been done. But, I guess I don't have to preface everything we talk about. Why don't we take turns? You take the first one.
I'm going to go with a classic. It's Pong. Everyone knows it, right? It's basically like tennis or table tennis. It's literally like two moving blocks and a ball. Otherwise known as just a dot that floats around the screen. Super groundbreaking at the time, right? I don't know if it was the first like game, but it was the first commercially successful arcade game, if you will. And it basically kind of kicked off the entire video game industry. So we owe a lot to Pong. And I think a video or like just the topic of the creation of Pong would be very interesting.
Yeah.
Just on the kind of like the things that I saw. But yeah, we owe a lot to Pong, man. It's small, but it is mighty.
Yeah. What is that, like 1972 or something?
I didn't write a date, and I should have for most of these, but I believe it was a long time ago, yeah.
I think Pong is 1972. That's a good one, of course.
Thank you.
Oldest one I have here is Rogue. Everybody knows Roguelike. I don't think a lot of people know Rogue, myself included, honestly.
Well, hold on now. We did kind of do like a little episode on genres
True.
in which we talked about it.
But, yeah, so if you've been listening to the Unlockable podcast for like 5 years.
Yeah. It's called What the Frick is Genre? And I was really proud of that thumbnail.
Rogue is a game from 1980. It is a game that I've never seen gameplay. I don't even know what this game looks like. It is a game that has both procedural generation and permadeath. And thus the roguelike genre was born. Anytime you hear anyone say, like, oh, I'm playing Hades, it's this roguelike game, they're basically saying you're going to have a run where you go and play a video game and you die and then you start over from scratch. Like, that is the dumbed down version of it. Maybe not totally from scratch, but you start over with certain things, like certain upgrades that you've gained along the way.
Yep.
But the procedural generation side of it means, like, every time you do a run, you are getting maybe a different door, key, enemy in a different place. Like, things are placed differently every time, so you're not just playing the same game over and over trying to win. But yeah, that's Rogue.
Yep. Good description.
What else you got?
Let's go another classic with Space Invaders. I think everyone knows it. It's literally been in every arcade since like its inception. They even have like the like at Dave and Buster's, the giant like jumbo one where you actually have you can like move around the light gun. If you ever played that one, it's pretty fun.
I don't even think I've played real Space Invaders, to tell you the truth.
What? Oh
I
my!
mean, I know what it is, of course, but man,
How do you call yourself a gamer, man? I
whoa,
know you said that in the
whoa.
beginning, but whoa, man, it's Space Invaders. Anyway, it popularized the concept of beating a high score. Popularized pretty much not the entire arcade culture, but I mean, the thing had a part in it, and it has so many imitators, which I think we didn't mention it earlier, but that also is maybe how, or another reason of why like a game could be historically significant is so many people have tried to copy it over the years, but
Yeah.
it's never as good as the original most times.
Super Mario Brothers. I don't really have to talk about it. It's 1985. It set the
Yep.
standard for 2D platformers, and aside from that, like phenomenon right there, it also, as we have seen and heard with ET, everybody loves to talk about how ET and Atari crashed the video game market in 1983. So,
Wah,
Nintendo
wah.
and Super Mario have been became the savior of the video game market in 1985.
That is wild. That Nintendo did that for everybody. I mean, they're so nice.
So
Imagine
generous.
where would we be without them? Let's be for
What would
real.
we be doing? We'd be back to stick and rock.
Yeah, exactly. We'd be trying to light fire and throwing rocks. All right, let's see. I have another super old one arcade game, and I mentioned it earlier. It's Pac-Man. It's awesome. It introduced like character recognition. Like everyone and their grandmother knew who Pac-Man was, right? You see the yellow circle with the triangle cut out. Everyone's like, "Oh my God, it's Pac-Man!" And he's in like so many games or referenced in so many like movies and culture, pop culture stuff. And they also introduced kind of mascot-driven design, so everyone like would recognize the little ghosties. What are their names? Oh
You
my God,
got Clyde, Inky, Blinky, and maybe
Pinky?
Pinky.
Pinky? Yeah, I think that's right. Yeah, see, everybody knows it.
Yeah, and Pac-Man, I feel, has really fallen off the face of the earth. I mean, like they had a game maybe 10 years ago, like a 3D platformer, and now they're just doing remasters. But like I don't know, Pac-Man has never been as popular as he was in 19 in the 80s when the game came out, and um, probably never will be. But I do think that he's a staple that is probably never going to be forgotten.
Didn't
Uh,
hold on. Now I know they had Pac-Man '99, and that was fantastic. I love that. Um,
oh,
didn't they? Aren't they? Is it out or coming out?
it is
Announced
out.
like a 3D platformer, or is it a 2D platformer?
It's a Metroidvania. There's a freaking if we're talking about the same game, that
Yeah,
weird like dark game.
yeah. It's exactly what I'm talking about.
I forget the name of it every time. It's Shadow Labyrinth, I think. It's
Yeah.
on all modern platforms. It came out the same day as something else huge, and it just got totally
Oof.
overshadowed.
Oh,
It might have
that's a
been like
bummer.
Donkey Kong Bonanza. I think that's what it was.
Oh, ouch. That's not good. Dang.
But you're right. Pac-Man does exist in a game that doesn't even have Pac-Man in the title.
Hey, man. He's making his comeback.
We got Wolfenstein 3D. This game is from
Ah.
1992, and people talk about Doom all the time. This game was a year prior. It is definitely what Doom was based off of. It is recognized widely as the first real first-person shooter, and it is defined. It defined one of the most popular genres of all time. Has anybody heard of Call of Duty? Has anybody heard of
Ah.
Battlefield? Like these
Nope.
are, we have everything to thank. We have Wolfenstein 3D to thank for a lot here.
Dang. That's a good answer. Good answer. Okay, I'm gonna go with a classic one. Again, it's Tetris. I love Tetris. Everyone loves Tetris. It's got crazy staying power. I
Yeah,
mean, Tetris 99 is like one of the coolest 99s there is out there. It's the coolest battle royale there is. It helped popularize handheld gaming. Like everyone and their mom was playing Tetris back in the day on the Game Boy. It's still fun. It's still addicting. There's still, and I'm not gonna call them weirdos because that's mean, but there's some fanatics out there who have the special glove who beat the back of the NES controller. That's still like very popular.
Yeah, I mean Tetris is just iconic. I didn't write that one because I didn't really know what to talk about. I mean, it's just like it's Tetris, and it sold about a billion Game
Yeah.
Boys, you know,
Yeah.
and even before that, Tetris was huge. So I don't know. It is the puzzle game, right?
It is the ultimate puzzle game. It's literally in the dictionary. Synonymous with puzzle game. That's not true. I don't know that. But love Tetris.
Along with Wolfenstein 3D being in 1992, there's also Mortal Kombat, and
Ah.
you had Street Fighter 2, which was like a huge deal. I'm sorry if you were going to bring that up. Street Fighter 2 was a huge deal the year prior, I believe,
Mm.
which revolutionized fighting games. But I'm bringing up Mortal Kombat specifically because it was such a brutal and violent game that they had. It's almost like the guy that ruined the fun for everybody else. They made a game that was
Yeah.
so bloody that they had to have the ESRB step in and like make the ESRB, you know?
Yeah.
Like it was that game. So for that alone, Mortal Kombat.
That's a good answer. I'm going to go a little more modern with this one. It's Pokemon Red and Blue. I think
Heck yeah.
we would be remiss not to at least mention Pokemon and the crazy. I mean, it's still a craze, you know? When it came back, or when it came out 20 years ago, 30 years ago now? Whatever it is. It's sprouted cards, trading card game. It's sprouted anime, many spin off games. Like, imagine the spin off games and then double that and then triple that because there's just so many Pokemon games. Pokemon Go, which I think is like the coolest thing to come out of the Pokemon series in a while, in my opinion. But yeah, it's still around. It's still crazy. People are buying plushies left and right and cards, and there's scalpers in Costco and whatever, like punching kids and elbowing kids out of the way. That's crazy. Talk about a cultural phenomenon. That's one of the biggest that we've ever
Man,
seen.
Pokemon Go could be a historically important game. I didn't even think about that.
I wrote that
Um,
down.
yeah, Pokemon. I mean, maybe it's at like the peak right now. Maybe it is at like even more popular than it was in the '90s. I don't know.
I
It
don't
is
know.
so insane.
And everyone loves it. Kids, adults, your
Yeah,
mother, your brother, your uncle. He'll definitely bring out his vintage Pokemon collection.
I'm gonna be that uncle.
Yeah. Well,
Well, I
yeah,
don't have
you
any
are.
siblings, but I will be that uncle. um, last one here I have is Grand Theft Auto 3, and this is kind of a big deal. I like to talk about this one. I think it's one of the most like collectible PS2 games, and we're probably not going to talk about collectible stuff in this episode too much, but
Yeah.
this game like is the reason that we have the massive open world games that we have today, which is like I don't know, 50% of AAA games today.
Yep.
Everybody has to make a massive open world with side quests and just like free roam sandbox, and this is the game that did it. Um, Grand Theft Auto 1 and 2, not nearly as important as this game right here.
Dang.
Very deep
That's
cinematic storytelling. It was
yeah.
obviously very mature. It was, it was making news headlines back in the day for being like controversial with how like mature it was. You know, you can go to a freaking
Yeah.
strip club in this game.
That's crazy.
But it set the standard for open world games going forward, and just being able to dive into an open world and not having to follow a story mission if you don't want to
Yeah.
is it was pretty groundbreaking.
Man, that's a good answer too. Okay, I have a couple more here. Um, but do you want me to just keep reading those?
Yeah, of course.
Okay. So we have Wii Sports. I think we'd be remiss to talk about that as well. It popularized motion controls. Again, everyone and their grandmas are still playing that game, like in nursing homes and stuff. I think it's awesome. It's also like, I asked ChatGPT, like, we're going to talk about it later, but it's basically just Pong, but like motion controls and like way better. Uh, so I think that was cool. Let's see. Another one is Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time. Introduced lock-on targeting, which I think is super important. And it was a 3D action adventure, and it had heavily integrated story. It wasn't just like read it in the manual. It was like there in the game, which I thought was really cool.
You said
Um,
Ocarina?
yeah, Ocarina of
Hmm.
Time. Then we
Gotcha.
have Duck Hunt, which is one of the first mainstream light gun games. It was also one of Nintendo's like first peripherals. I know they had like other things, but like this is at least like their most successful one at the time. Everyone had a freaking light gun if you had the NES. There's so many of them floating around. Um, I think Mario Kart is also a big one. I know it's not like the first racing game, but it is one of the ones that was more geared towards like fun versus like high speed and like actually simulating a car.
Hmm.
There's a bunch of not spin-offs but like branches off of that. Also, Nintendogs. I'm sorry, but I'm putting that one up there. It was a cultural phenomenon across all of all of my childhood, right? And everyone's still, oh my god, what happened to my Nintendo? Are they dead? But I think besides that, it's a really good example of hardware utilization. So like they were using the microphone, the camera, the DS touchscreens. I think that was really significant in that point of time, and it got casual games into gaming because everyone likes dogs. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Man, living through the DS era was really something special.
It was, and this wasn't even a game, but like the Picto Chat or whatever, where you could like write in like a chat room. Oh, fantastic!
It was a big deal because phones were breaking out, like
Yeah,
modern phones were really breaking out at this time, but kids had DSs and the iPod Touch wasn't. I mean, I don't know when the iPod Touch came out, but around this time for sure.
yeah, definitely. And then the last one, because I think I'm going to save some of these other ones. Oh, quick mention is Secret of Monkey Island. I think we've talked about that. It's a point and click adventure, heavy storytelling. It's great. Everyone loves it. It's still kind of in the gaming industry now. But I'm going to save some of the other ones for later, that question that I asked you at the end.
Okay.
Um, the last one I have here, though, is Myst, spelled Myst. I don't know if you've ever heard of it.
Yeah, I would like to play Myst someday.
It is a 1993 action adventure developed by Cyan and published by Broderbund. Originally on the Mac OS, but later came out on things like the Saturn, the PS1, the PSP, and even the Nintendo DS and 3DS. Crazy. Um, Honestly, the game looks absolutely fantastic for 1993. It's very colorful. The pixel work is like crazy good. Um, and players basically just interact with the screen by clicking on objects and traversing the many different pre-rendered environments. And the game is in first person, and much of the game is like solving puzzles and stuff. So it seemed pretty freaking advanced for the time.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the last one I got.
Yeah, Myst is a big deal. Um, I really have like very little point and click adventure experience, but I would love to experience Myst.
Yeah, I agree. It looked really, really good.
So we added a section here, historic games that are not worth playing, question mark. And I think that we kind of weren't able to come up with a lot. And I think that this section is like sort of counterintuitive. It's counteractive to like what this episode is,
Yeah,
because it's hard for me to answer because I feel like if it's historic, it's worth experiencing. Um, and I guess it depends what your definition of worth playing is. Like, the only thing I really wrote down here was E.T. I mentioned it earlier,
yeah,
1982. Um, it was infamously bad. It helped crash the video game market, and um, it's a meme now. I could see myself, even though it's bad, I could see myself sitting down and maybe playing a half an hour or so just to kind of experience it. But like,
yeah,
is it worth it to sit there for hours to try to rack your brain to figure out how to beat this game? I don't know about that. I think you kind of see what you need to see in 30 minutes to an hour with the game.
yeah. Definitely. I have a few examples here. Some of them are like, well, I'll just read them out for you. So the first one, and most of these examples are if you're like super diehard in the series, you can just disregard what I'm saying, right? Because obviously, if you love the series, you probably want to go back to see the original. But like most people, maybe it's not for you unless you really love it. So the first one is Adventure on the Atari, which came out in 1980.
Yeah.
Super basic, no story, like hardly any sound. It was pretty cool getting to like move around up and down, left to right in like a dungeon kind of space, but like honestly I couldn't tell what anything was. The sword is just like an arrow, and it took me forever to realize that it was a sword and not like you're supposed to point to the enemies, which might be a me thing. Um, and I didn't have the manual, so it's not like I could actually read about it, and nothing was explained. It's super simple. I know it was definitely constrained at the time, and at the time, I'm sure it was like freaking the coolest thing ever. But I played it like 10 years ago, maybe, and I was like, I don't know if this is for me. I will say the only reason I played that game is to find the cool hidden little Easter egg by one of the developers, and that was awesome. That was such a cool thing. You take like this dot, which looks just like a mistake, and then you bring it to this room and do something else. I can't remember. But then it like takes you to a whole new screen. It's like the developer's name and it's like flashing. It's very cool. So if you're into things like that, maybe play it. But I mean, honestly, you're not missing out on anything.
Yeah, I mean, the first game to have an Easter egg, possibly, that's pretty freaking cool.
Yes. Now, if you're into that stuff, like I was, super cool. But I don't even think I beat the game. I think I literally just found the Easter egg and then turned it off forever.
Yeah.
The next one, and I mentioned it, is Pong. You don't need to go play Pong. I'm sure you've already played it. You know exactly what it is. It might, entertain you for 10 minutes and then never pick it up again because it's
10
Pong.
minutes is kind of a stretch.
You think so? Okay, so like 5 minutes? 6 minutes?
I literally almost wrote that down, but I was like, it's gonna take like 3 minutes for you to get it. Like, you might as well just sit down and play Pong.
I mean, yeah, I guess. And you know what? It might be entertaining if you're like, if it's one of those sit down like arcade cabinet thingies, the modern ones they have now, and you're playing with somebody else, and it's like we actually have to like move the puck around with like an analog stick, or like you know what I'm saying, like make it a little more interactive. But like original Pong, you're good, homie. You don't need to play that. I think. These ones, I don't have personal experience with them, so I might be talking my butt here. But Harvest Moon, it's like the first full farm life simulator. Like other games had kind of aspects of that farm simulator, but this is like the first one to be full blown about it.
That's interesting.
I think that the other games in the series are probably better. They probably kind of really fleshed out like the relationships in that game, and like you can date anyone and you can make a life with this one, and like different animals and blah blah blah. I'm sure the newer ones are better. And even this might be in our section that's later, but like Stardew Valley, I think really has a crazy amount of stay power in that space.
Yeah, I mean,
Like,
that's the game. Nobody talks about Harvest Moon. Nobody talks about Story of Seasons. It's just, hey, I want a cozy farmy game. Go
yep.
go play. What the heck is it called? Story of Seasons.
Stardew Valley.
Oh, Stardew Valley. Yeah, my bad.
Let's see. The other one I have is Dragon Quest, the original one from 1986 on the Famicom. Now they are remaking these games, which look absolutely incredible. So maybe we'll play that version. But really laid the groundwork for like JRPGs that kind of gave them that kind of different kind of RPG thing, but it was super grindy. The pacing is a little off and there isn't much of a story. So like maybe play the remakes, but if you're really into Dragon Quest, then obviously play that one. Or Dragon Warrior, like it's called over here. But otherwise, I think you can probably steer clear. Another one, and I was personally duped by this one. EverQuest, 1999 on the PC, defined the MMORPG genre. There were other ones at the time, but I think this one was like the most popular. So it kind of laid the groundwork for games like World of Warcraft and like RuneScape and like all those other ones that you hear now. So if you've played it, this one is like the super grindy. The controls are punishing. There's like a steep amount of time you have to grind to actually get good in the game. And it looks super bad. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about, but it like does not look good anymore.
I'm familiar with the game. I've never seen the graphics.
And then this one was like one that didn't kind of blow my mind, but one of those things where it's like, oh, okay, that makes sense. So it's called Little Computer People. I don't know if you've ever heard of it.
Never heard of that.
Also called House on a Disc, which I really enjoyed. It's a social sim game released in 1985 by Activision for the Commodore 64, the ZX Spectrum, Atari ST, and Apple II. It's a precursor to The Sims, so I'm sure you're familiar with that genre. But there's no winning in this game. It's basically a bisected view of a house, kind of like an open doll house where you can see all the rooms. And basically, a little character shows up to the house and does like normal everyday stuff. You can kind of interact with him a little bit by like clicking around. You can play like poker with him and you can give him gifts. So like super basic. But a cool thing I liked about it is each copy of the game generated its own unique character for you to interact with. So no two copies of the games are alike. And
Wow.
the name is randomly selected from a list of 256 names.
Ah, that 256-bit.
Yep. So I thought that was very fun. The last one I have, and it's one that I have always heard about but didn't realize how long it's been around. So it's Ultima 1, or like if you want to be like super technical, there's Ultima 0, aka Akalabeth World of Doom. I don't know if you've ever heard of that, but Ultima is a super long running series of RPGs. I had no clue. Most of them are open world fantasy RPGs. The first game in the series actually released in 1980. That's the World of Doom. Akalabeth. It's called Ultima 0 because it kind of introduced these mechanics that Ultima 1 would ultimately use. Came out on the MS-DOS and Apple II. Technically, the first game in the series is Ultima 1, because it's like the first one that they came out with that was called Ultima. The First Age of Darkness is its full title. Initially released in 1981. This game is basically, I mean, it's very basic looking and sounding. Imagine like Zelda 1's like overworld kind of exploration, but like much, 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 much simpler. Like there was like 3 colors on the screen at a time, and it's basically a whole black background. And for like their dungeon exploration, kind of dungeon crawling thing, imagine like Doom's first person, but like stick people, only stick people, and neon lines on a black background
Oh, I
to
know what you're talking about.
signify like a ladder or like moving through a room. And while it's not the first CRPG, which is a term I didn't know about, it means computer or console RPG, it is sure one of the longest running, which I think leads to its historic significance, if you will. Also, I didn't know this either, but the latest game in the series was on PS4 and Xbox One in 2019. And that one's called Underworld Ascendant. So it's been around for a very long time.
I think there are multiple. I have a couple Ultima games we're going to talk about in a little bit. The series has a few points where it's just been very groundbreaking, game changing.
Yeah.
But it is being someone that was, first of all, like born in the mid '90s, and someone that like has never been a big computer guy. I have like no experience with Ultima. But yeah, it
I don't
is
either.
it's a pretty iconic series.
There's also Ultima Online, which is an MMO, which is super influential in its own right. So it's like, it's got roots everywhere.
Yeah,
But that's the last one I had.
good stuff. Good stuff.
Thank you.
So we're gonna talk about some games that introduce a mechanic, but then like later something else comes out and does it way better.
Yep.
First thing I'm gonna talk about. Well, I'll just keep the Ultima train going here. Ultima 6 and 7 create this open world RPG environment, and you have freedom to explore. And then a game like The Elder Scrolls Morrowind comes, and it creates a fully 3D world with complex quests, and it gives the player choices to make when you're like in the dialogue. Something you're very familiar with now with
Yep.
Baldur's Gate.
Yep. Love it.
And then GTA 3, even on top of that, comes and just like I talked about already, it just opens up a whole new can of open world environment. I only have 3 here. Why don't you go?
Oh, I also don't have very many. So I already mentioned this one already, but adventure, it introduced early action, adventure exploration. In a game that does it better, I mean, Legend of Zelda.
Probably
The
any
first
game
on the
ever, actually.
Yeah, I tried to pick ones that were like relatively close to like release date. Like obviously, you can say Pong, from whatever, and then obviously Wii Sports Tennis is going to be way better, and it's the same concept, right? So I tried to keep it like relatively in the same ballpark of like generation or release date. But yeah, if you're in the mood for an action adventure that's old, play Legend of Zelda on the NES. It'll be great.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you on not replaying Pong. I think, I don't know. I mean, you're just playing it to say you played it at this point because you already know what it is. You're moving left to right and you're bouncing the ball back and forth. Is it really something you need to experience? But
No.
Let's talk about Wolfenstein 3D again. Introduced first-person shooters, and then a year later, Doom comes in, and it improves on it, and it adds multiplayer, and then a few years later, you get Quake, which is like fully 3D, and it perfects FPS gameplay, and it adds online support, which is a big one.
Dang. I also had that one. Not the Quake one, though. That's interesting. Didn't spit out the Quake for me. So my example, and I hate to say this because I do love this game, but GoldenEye 007, I'm not saying, like, don't ever experience it, but, like, don't go in thinking you're going to experience the best shooter ever. So it brought shooters, or at least FPS shooters, because you can change your perspective in that game if you didn't know that one. In 1997, with multiplayer shootouts and big-headed enemies, it was super fun. But Halo Combat Evolved, which is crazy, it just came out 4 years later, in 2001, brought online multiplayer, right? Way better controls, because, you know, everyone loved to suffer through the single-stick shooter that was GoldenEye 007. And the pacing was way better. And there was, like, actual stories and character development and everything like that. So, as much as it hurts me to say, you know what, still play GoldenEye 007. It really is good. It really is. It really is good.
So we're going to talk about remakes and remasters in a little bit, but you can experience GoldenEye, like, on modern consoles now with, like, I don't know, way better controls.
Yep.
But we'll talk about my thoughts on the remake section in a little bit.
Yep.
Super Mario 64, you got this one written down?
No, because everyone should play that.
Oh, yeah. I didn't mean for this section to be like a don't go play the original.
Yeah.
Definitely go play Wolfenstein 3D, and I don't know about Ultima. Maybe go play Ultima. But definitely play Mario 64. But the one that came before it is Jumping Flash, which was a PlayStation exclusive in 1995. So, you know, a few months or even a year before Mario 64. And this is like a weird game that made it. I remember I first heard about this game when the PlayStation Classic was coming out, because it was just like one of those games that everybody was like scratching their head, like, what? There's so many great PS1 games and they put Jumping Flash on there.
What a horrible name.
Yeah, it's a terrible name. I think that it was like a very early, maybe even a launch title for the PS1. But you're basically doing 3D platforming, but you're in first-person mode, which is very different from the third-person view you see in Mario 64.
Oh, that sounds awful.
Yeah, it does sound kind of like nauseating. But I want to check it out. I think it's pretty historic for being one of the earliest 3D platformers. I would like to give it a shot.
That sounds interesting enough, I would say. And then I don't have any more examples. You took Wolfenstein 3D from me.
Okay. Let's get into that remake section. I think I have a lot to say about this. The experience is what we're calling this section. Should you play original way the game was released, or should you go and play like the latest refined remastered version of it?
I have a feeling we're gonna have very differing opinions on this one.
Okay. Let me get in on this. Let me get started here, and you can interrupt me at any time.
Okay, gladly.
If you want to experience something for the sake of history, but the way I see it is there's like two ways to experience a game. There's like the normal way to play it, where you're just coming home from your 40 hours of work this week, and you're like, I just want to play some freaking video games and relax with the few hours of free time I have. Mm-hmm. And like, by all means, do that in whatever way makes you happy. If you're like nostalgic for the OG version of Final Fantasy VII on PS1, have a blast. If you want to play the latest remaster of Final Fantasy VII on your PS4, why not? I promise you, before I even start talking, I am not here to tell you one way is better than the other, okay?
Right.
If you want to experience something for the sake of history, if you want to see what limitation developers were stuck with, like we've been talking about, if you want to see the graphics and the sound and straight up the jank that came with a game, if you want to experience the freaking difficulty that you were forced to experience living in the year the game was made, then your answer here is to play the original version. And I don't mean drag out your NES. Like, you can emulate it, you can do whatever you want. I just am saying, like, there is a lot lost whenever you play a remaster of a game. And like, while we're on this point real quick, make sure you have the manual. You talked about playing adventure. I think you missed half the game by not having the manual. I'm just gonna guess.
Absolutely.
I've never played adventure.
For sure.
And if you're, another thing, this is gonna sound stuck up or something, if you're just like googling all the answers on the internet to get through a video game, you are pretty much muddying your authentic experience. And I'm gonna just say one that's gonna hurt people: save states are also muddying your authentic experience. So with all of that said, like, there's a reason that you would take time to sit down and experience a slow, outdated, not as fun version of the game. Like, everything that we talked about at the beginning of this episode, figuring out like technical limitations, the current trends going on, I guess that's not a good example, but the game design philosophy, thinking about how brutally hard games were, thinking about how you weren't able to save. Like, if you're trying to put yourself in the shoes of a person that lived in 1985 and was playing Super Mario Bros., like, you have to kind of experience it without save states. You have to experience it in a way that is not muddied, if that makes sense.
I think it does make sense, and I think you for sure have a point. But I know me personally, like, I don't often play older games, mostly because I am bad at them, and I lack patience, so I don't actually, like, complete them. So, like, do I want to struggle? If I have 3 hours, right, that's all I get for gaming this week. If I have those 3 hours, I don't want to sit there and be pissed off the whole time at some stupid, outdated mechanic because I can't figure it out for those 3 hours and they go to bed pissed. You know what I'm saying? Like, if there's an updated version of that, I think, in my personal opinion, I would definitely go for the redefined, remastered, updated version or whatever. And always, I like to assume that the developers did the best they could given their hardware, right? That's what we talked about. There's always hardware limitations. But maybe what they wanted to put out, wasn't the version of it that they saw in their heads, right? So they returned to it 15, 20 years later, and maybe the new upgraded hardware, the version of the game that they wanted to make, was finally able to be realized, you know what I'm saying? So, like, that's always how they saw it in their head. And if it's like...
Yeah, keep going.
Go for it. Say, if there's a version out there like that, and, like, the original creators came back, or someone who's, like, super passionate about their project remade it and still put all that love and time and effort into it, I feel like I would rather play that one because it's the most updated version of their vision.
I think that it's great that you don't agree with me. I think that it makes this a lot more interesting, and I think a lot of people are going to agree with you. I think it really just boils down to, like, what is it that you are trying to accomplish? What is your goal by playing this old game? Is it to study all the crap I just listed? Is it to experience the way things used to be? Or is it to... Like, if your goal is to, like, play through Final Fantasy VI, is a very good example, because it is a game that so many people love, and the story is really freaking good. And if you want to play it on a pixel remaster, for those of you not familiar, pixel remaster has options to do, like, insane things, like speed up the game 2x 4x, I don't know what speed, but, like, speed up the game immensely. And you also get I believe you can turn off random battles, and that's just a couple things to name. But if where was I going with that? That was, like, start of a very good point. Like, you can experience a story of that. You can experience the story of that game on 4x speed, and, like, with like random encounters turned off. Like, you can still experience the story if that's what your goal is, or if your goal is to just relax on a Saturday morning while you have a couple hours of free time, you can do that. But if your goal is to say, I want to see how the people playing this in 1990 something experienced it, I think you're changing it a lot. And if you're going through the internet figuring out, where is every secret item, where is every single thing that I was going to miss if I didn't have this like step-by-step guide in front of me. It's a very different experience. And so I think it just depends what your goal is.
Yeah, I think you're different, right? And I also think it depends on the game. Like if there's a game that came out 30 years ago, right, and they just kind of slapped a new, coat of paint on it, and you're playing it's basically the same game, you might as well just play the original, right? Unless of course you don't have access to that hardware or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's really well put. It just depends on what you want out of it. Like, and you brought up story, and I think that's really important for me specifically. Like, if I think a game has an absolutely excellent, incredible story, like there was a couple examples that I looked at. I think King's Quest is like a super big overarching story, and it seemed fascinating. I read about the plot, but I really don't want to do like a point and click adventure game. Like that's not my kind of genre. But if they did something where it was more like interactive instead of just like looking at different like static screens, that would be sick. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I would love to experience that story. But yeah, I think you put it very well. It just depends on what you want.
And I'm not playing every game to experience it in a historical point. Like
Right.
An example I wrote down is Katamari Damacy. I played a few years ago. That's a PS2 game that came out. I'm gonna say that's not a historically significant game. I play remasters. Like I played that on Xbox. Never played a Katamari in my life. Loved it. It was a remaster with. I'm sure it was objectively more fun and tighter controls, and just like everything about it was like objectively better.
Yeah.
But I wasn't playing that game because I wanted to see what people in 2000 something were experiencing on the PS2. That was just a game I wanted to play because I was having fun, and so that just kind of like solidifies the point I was making. Like, it's really about what your goal is.
Yeah, I think that's good. And another example that I have, is Final Fantasy VII. You brought up 6, which I think is good, but Final Fantasy VII, it's like you can play the original one, you can play like whatever port or whatever they have after, but then you can play the remade one that's completely different. It looks completely different, it plays completely different. And I think significantly 7 is, very historically significant, but like also so is the newer one, because it's like one of the first times they completely remade an old game and made new fans fall in love with it. The old fans fall in love with it. You get to see these characters like rendered instead of just like sprites, you know what I'm saying? So I think they both are, which I think is an interesting example.
That's a very good example because they are like not the same game. The gameplay is not the same. The story is vastly different from what I hear.
Yeah.
So yeah, like that's an interesting scenario where it's like you need to play both to fully understand this game.
Yeah, for sure. And then I wanted to bring up a couple examples of like,
Please.
should you play the original one or the remade one? So just one that I'm thinking off the top of my head. Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time, or even Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask. So they have the original ones, and then they have the 3D ones that came out on the 3DS. I don't know if you have experience with playing those, but what are your thoughts on that?
I'm sorry, say what game is it?
So Ocarina of Time on the N64 or the 3DS, and then you can also tie in Majora's Mask to that too.
I have only ever played the N64 version.
Nice. So would you, if you did not own the original one and you did own the 3DS one, would you play the 3DS one and then not play the original?
That's interesting. Those two specifically, I feel like, I guess I don't know enough about what they changed, because my gut feeling is like those are the same game just brought in 3D now, like on the 3DS, but I don't know if that's true.
They're a little different. I mean, I know that it adds a bunch of stuff. It looks a heck of a lot better. I think they reworked the water temple a little bit in the 3D one, or made it easier so it wasn't so damn confusing like the Nintendo 64 one.
But
I don't know specifics.
That's gonna be N64 for me, because like I don't. That's exactly what I'm talking about. This is like, that is the game. First of all, that's a crazy example, because like Ocarina for decades has been like, this is the greatest game of all time.
Yeah.
And like I cannot go and experience an easier version of that game and feel like, yeah, I played this game. I understand references now. I totally understand why people say the water temple is the worst thing ever, especially if it's like an easier version of the water temple.
Yeah.
That's gonna, for me personally, that would like ruin the experience for me. That would not be it.
Yeah, no, I think that's a good point. Also, and I just had a thought. You said save states you think are kind of fluffing it, making it a little easier.
Well, I know for a fact it's making it easier, but I think it's changing the experience is what I'm trying to get at.
Yeah. As someone who uses save states a lot, I very much appreciate them. But yeah, I see your point. Definitely if it's like one of those really, really hard games. Or even where it's like, not a roguelike, but one of the ones where you get set back a whole bunch and then you have to like redo everything over again. I hate doing that.
No one likes it. No one liked it 40 years ago either. I hate it and still, and it's like, it really just boils down to your intention. Are you trying to sit here and experience it the way it was made? And even like you were talking about with how developers have changed things now to make it like the work that they would have loved to have made 40 years ago. There's so many times where like they would have given you a better checkpoint. They would have given you a better save. They would have let you save the game first of all. Like that is for sure a thing. And that's why I'm not judging anybody that plays any type of way. I think people play video games first and foremost to sit down and relax. And meanwhile, I'm over here punishing myself. Like I'm playing Ninja Gaiden 2 right now, and it's freaking hard. But it brings me joy. If I play something, and I'm playing it with random encounters turned off, or like if I'm out here playing something with save states, like it's just gonna not make me feel like I actually beat the game.
Right. I understand. Now, I think I know your answer, but how strict are you about playing it on like the original console in which it came out on the original hardware, the original controller, all that kind of stuff?
I don't care. If I wasn't a collector, I would emulate everything.
Don't you think that also changes the experience?
Yeah, I guess if your goal is to turn on a CRT TV and see the pixels and see the scan lines and play with the original controller, and like you can even go as far as to say like I want to have to suffer and blow on the cartridge for a half an hour until the game works. Like yeah, I've been there, and if that's part of the experience you're trying to replicate, then I'm all for it. But that's not something that I think. I guess it just depends on your experience that you're aiming for again.
Yeah. I think an example of that would be like Pac-Man. Like, yeah, you can bring a Pac-Man on your computer, right? And you can use the arrow keys or whatever. But like playing it with the analog stick, dude, that's real shit. You know what I'm saying? That's the way you should experience that.
I do think about that from time to time. Like sometimes if I'm playing something that like I don't have a good example right now, but if I'm playing something that originally well, here I'm playing Half-Life right now. I'm going to talk about Half-Life in a little bit, but
Yep.
I'm playing Half-Life on a controller. That game is a PC game through and through, and I feel a little bit wrong using a couple of analog sticks to play that game because God intended for that game to be a WASD and a mouse, right?
Right.
And I don't know. I feel like I do think about that a lot. I don't know what my stance is on it, but right now, I am using an Xbox controller to play a PC game.
Interesting. Okay, that's all the questions I got. Very fascinating.
Last thing I want to mention that's kind of a pet peeve here. You cannot review a game based on its modern version. I think that is a common problem that I see on YouTube. If you want to tell me that you played through Mega Man 1 on NES and it's a great game and it's not as hard as everyone says it is and there's no major issues with the game, blah blah blah. If you want to like review a game but you spent like all your you spent the whole game like using save states, you cannot review Mega Man based off of that. Like there is so much to hate about Mega Man because you have to start the entire level over every single time. And it's a great freaking game. They're all great games, I'm sure. But man, that will really piss you off. And you cannot tell me that like making a save state right before the final boss or before all the bosses and just like retrying over and over and over and like it's cheating and like again, if that's how you want to play, that's totally fine. I don't care. But you cannot review the game the same way you would review it if you weren't using save states.
I think that's a good point. I think that if they do review it, they have to say, like, oh, I emulated this on my computer, or oh, I played a modern version of this on my blah, blah, blah. I think that's a good point. But I think they should fully disclose that information.
All that being said, I got nothing against remasters and remakes. Like I said, I play them from time to time myself. I'm gonna go ahead and assume that the version of Half-Life I'm playing is like some modern Steam re-release because, first of all, I don't have a freaking IBM PC or whatever. I don't have a Windows 95 PC to hook that game up and play on. But I don't know. I play remasters and remakes from time to time as well.
Yeah, I think that's good. Good point. I, for one, we know my stance on remakes. I love them. Bring them on. Bring them to Nintendo. Bring them to modern consoles. I love it. More. I want more. Especially, like I said, if it's got a really great story and the gameplay's outdated. Give it to me.
I think that it's nice to make things more accessible for like when in terms of remasters. And remakes breathe new life into things that may not have had any life. They definitely have their perks.
Yep, I agree.
Let's talk about some historically important games we've played.
I mean, most of the ones that I mentioned, especially in like Pong or like Pac-Man or whatever, Space Invaders. Obviously, I've played those, so I really didn't list those. Super Mario 64. Super Smash Bros. I think is super influential. Among Us, which I already mentioned. Pokemon Go, great example. Let's see, another one I have. Guitar Hero, which I know we didn't talk about at all. But damn,
heck yeah.
Is that one of the best rhythm games there is out there. And I heard that they're making a new one.
I have heard a little bit about that, yeah.
That's super exciting.
DDR, probably a big influential rhythm game.
Oh, for sure. That's a good one. Didn't even think about that one. Yeah, what do you got?
Definitely have a ton of obvious ones. Mario, Zelda, Metroid, Sonic, Donkey Kong, Mario 64, Pokemon, Ocarina, Halo, Resident Evil 4, maybe not super obvious. Resident Evil 4, very, very influential. But some of the less obvious ones, like, I mean, Super Metroid, Castlevania Symphony of the Night, the two games that literally make up the word Metroidvania, which I think I'm going to try to call Search Action from here on out. I'm so sick of Metroidvania. But those two games founded that genre. I played them both. I freaking love those games. And I'm playing Half-Life right now, which I talked about, but this game is so good at telling a really deep story through gameplay instead of interrupting you with cutscenes. It is just I find myself every week I'm streaming this game, and every time I fire it up, I am just very enthralled and just very interested in how the developers really just changed certain things for the first time, and just talked about the way that there are just these interactions with the NPCs is very interesting, and it's a very good game. It's good at making a really creepy environment, and it's just everything that happens in the story you're experiencing in real time as the main character.
That's really exciting. Yeah, I have that one in my ones to play. Looks very cool.
I'm surprised how well it holds up, honestly. But
really?
It could be because it's this modern Steam remaster, or maybe it just really does hold up that well. I'm not exactly sure. It's got great puzzle solving, it's got great combat, and the exploration. All of those three things seamlessly blend together. It's a very good game.
Huh. That's a good one to try, I think.
Doom.
See.
You have more?
No, I want to save those for the question that I want to ask you, because some of those are pretty good. So go ahead, keep going.
Doom, I'm pretty sure I've talked about it in the last couple of years, because I've played it in the last couple of years, but that's the game that popularized the FPS genre. We already talked about it. Doom's great. Final Fantasy VII, I forced myself to play, and that game is a really good example of like this whole episode's like what I'm trying to put across in this episode, because I personally am not a big JRPG guy. This game, this is the JRPG. Everyone knows it, and
Yeah.
like I had to experience it because it is the game. And I that's just something that I feel like we were talking about, like movie buffs and all the things that they want to go study, and like music fans are going to go listen to every genre of music. This is me doing that in video games. I just am interested in experiencing, why is Final Fantasy VII so great? Why is it just this groundbreaking game? What is it about the story that everybody loves so much? Um, that's just something that I put myself through, and it's not like I played 2 hours. It's like, this is like, I don't know, 30-40 hour RPG. Like, it's like this is a commitment for sure, but I enjoy that.
Yeah, that's also on my list of ones that I want to play. Yeah, those are all good.
And that's all I got.
Okay, so you want to do ones you want to play? I know
Yeah,
we've
go.
talked about mine a little bit.
Oh yeah.
So these ones, they're more modern ones, but I think they will be significant. But Skyrim, I mean, that one's not super recent, but Skyrim, I think, is like one of the best examples of that, because it has so many branches off. Like, Skyrim is literally on everything. Everyone talks about it. There's like Skyrim, Elder Scrolls Online. Like, there's so many things. Skyrim. It's been on it's on the Switch. I own it on the Switch.
I don't know
Um,
what is so um important about that game that like wasn't done in older Elder Scrolls games like Morrowind. But I'm saying that as like I'm genuinely curious because I've never played an Elder Scrolls game.
Me either, and I think that would be something fun to experience. And along the same vein as like Witcher with Witcher 3, I don't know what it did different than Witcher 1 and Witcher 2, but everyone talks about Witcher 3.
That's a good point.
Another one, and I've talked about this before, and I own it, and it's my bad for not playing it. Red Dead Redemption. I think that's one of, I've talked about it a lot, but like Western storytelling
Yeah.
at its finest. I want to play a game in the Ultima series. I know you mentioned it. It might not be the oldest one. It might not be the newest one, but I think that as an RPG fan, I think that's something that I should experience. Um, Another one is one of the Tomb Raider games. Those are also super influential. I think they're also making a movie about it again. They've made movies about it in the past. So any of those would be fun. Any Halo game I've played, I think my cousin used to be like super into Halo, and so he'd always get like the newest console to play it on. And we used to play together, like not multiplayer. Like I would literally just watch him play, and he would give me the controller sometimes. He's also 6 years younger than I am, so whatever. I was happy to watch him play. But from what I did experience, I think there's also like Xbox, what is it, Connect or whatever, where there's like motion features. I believe if I'm remembering correctly, super cool, super sick with all that kind of stuff. Another one would be Final Fantasy VII, which I mentioned before, or any of the other Final Fantasy games. Honestly, they all sound great. You were talking up 6. That one sounded fantastic. Let's see.
I'm gonna just like intervene here. I don't think there's a single Halo game that has any Kinect compatibility, and I think that
Really?
if there is, please comment below.
Oh, man, then what were we playing? Well, whatever we were playing was sick, and I should find that one out. Actually, you know what? Maybe it was a Star Wars game.
Maybe.
Is there a Star Wars Connect game?
I think. Well, yes, for sure there is.
Maybe it was that one. But anyway, the Halo games also looked fantastic. Final Fantasy, Witcher 3. I really enjoyed my time with Shin Megami Tensei. Now, I'm not going to say that Shin Megami Tensei did the RPG better than Pokemon, but I do really enjoy, like, the demon, like, kind of darker, mysterious kind of route that it takes, and also being able to, like, fuse your demons to make other demons. That was also sick. So
Yeah.
an earlier one of that, or even in the Persona series, would be fun. Your turn.
I wrote Adventure.
Nice.
I gotta play it. It's Adventure. Chrono Trigger.
Oh, that's a great one.
I don't know. I don't know if Chrono Trigger did anything insane. I feel like maybe it just kind of made a really great game, and it happened to be this like dream team of developers and artists and everything. Maybe that's why Chrono Trigger, and it's just like an amazing game apparently. But like as far as like doing something for the first time, I don't know if it really has any of that.
Yeah.
It's just kind of like the RPG that I want to play because everybody says it's amazing. Jumping Flash.
So like, of course.
Oh yeah, I want to play Jumping Flash. I want to play Metal Gear Solid. I don't know if Metal Gear Solid did anything. I guess it probably did. Like it was Kojima like really making, I don't know, cinematography in video games. It's a big deal, and it's probably also kind of revolutionary in the like the 3D stealth environment, I imagine.
Yeah.
Alone in the Dark. This game is basically like Resident Evil before Resident Evil, right?
That's a good one, yeah.
It had the it was a horror game with like the fixed camera angles. So the Oregon Trail, Hannah.
Yeah. You've never played the Oregon Trail? Hold on.
I've never played the Oregon Trail.
Dude, I have played the Oregon Trail like a stupid amount of times. They even have a like tabletop like card game, and I've played that too.
That's really smart of them, actually. I like that.
I don't remember being anything like the game, but I bought it.
It's one of the first widely used educational games. It is early storytelling through gameplay, early use of turn-based, choice-driven gameplay. They have random events, and it was resource management and survival mechanics.
Now, that is a big game that's like referenced in so many things. It's like, oh, you died of dysentery. What? What the hell is that? Where's that from? It's Oregon Trail.
Dude, no one is going to know what Oregon Trail was in like, I don't know, 5 years. Like, once a certain year hits, that game is just going to like have never existed.
Yep, you're absolutely right. And it makes me sad.
I've talked about GTA 3 already.
Mm-hmm.
That's one I really want to play soon. That's been on the backlog for a long time. Tomb Raider you mentioned. Yep. I tried playing Tomb Raider a little bit, but it was so janky. It's going to be a tough one for me to get through.
What about the newer ones?
They do have modern... That's happening for a lot of those polygonal, like, PS1 era games. Like, Croc got a remaster, and like all of a sudden it's a good game.
Yeah. Save states, man.
It's not even the save states, it's just the controls, man. The tank controls in Tomb Raider and Croc were just really rough.
Ouch.
Secret of Monkey Island. You did mention it a little bit.
Yep.
This is a game I've wanted to play for years. Major influence on storytelling. It's like very comedic and like raised the bar for writing in video games. Very cool. Final Fantasy 1. I mean, aside from just being Final Fantasy 1, it is also something that helped define the JRPG genre.
Yeah.
It started the massive series. It helped establish like epic story-driven video games and helped popularize console RPGs.
Yep.
I don't need to talk about Wolfenstein 3D or Quake anymore, but all of those, to name a few, I want to play a lot.
Man. Yeah, all good stuff.
I'm really happy with the progress I've been making. You know, I feel like every year I do play a few historically important games to cross off my list, and Half-Life this year, Final Fantasy 7 last year.
Yeah. You certainly play more than I do. But you also play more games than I do, so maybe that has to do with
That's
it.
True.
But I do have a question for you, and I've been talking about it this whole thing because I was super excited they came up with a good question. Are you ready?
Let's do it.
Okay, what games do you think will be considered historically significant in 10, 15, or even 20 years?
I guess we're talking about like modern games, right? Like ones we're living through right now.
Mm-hmm.
I think Marvel's Spider-Man. Well, I don't know. I don't know about that one. Because that game really just kind of built off of Arkham, the Arkham games.
Yeah, and also, not to put anything against Spider-Man, but like more people are a fan of Spider-Man. Like more people bought that game because they were a fan of Spider-Man than like actually wanted to play that game. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
Like Spider-Man sold as well as it did, not because it wasn't a good game, of course, but because it was Spider-Man.
Yeah. What else we got? I'm thinking, like, I don't want to say Red Dead. I mean, Red Dead is huge, is a big deal for Rockstar and for the gaming industry, but like, it just kind of built more off of Rockstar's GTA 3, right?
Yeah, kind of.
I don't want to say Red Dead. I'm gonna say freaking Fortnite.
Yep,
That
that's on
game
my list.
made a whole genre super
Yep,
popular.
this is a good answer.
You're
I
not gonna
think
know
it's
the answer to this, but like, did Overwatch make like hero shooters popular, or I don't know, maybe Overwatch is historically important for that?
could be. I also think that it's worth mentioning like the whole streaming side of things also kind of moved along a lot of these games. Like would Fortnite have been as popular if it wasn't streamed on Twitch and like all those other things?
Oh yeah.
Probably not. So I think it's worth mentioning that kind of having that influence of streamers and like what's the big Fortnite streamer? I can't remember his name. I know he's got blue hair. But like his popularity kind of took off with that game. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I think that's for sure worth mentioning.
You
Same
mentioned
thing like
you
go for
mentioned
it.
the Among Us. That's a good one.
Yeah. I was just about to say Among Us was super big. Also on streaming, like everyone was playing it. They were playing it on like like daytime television, like Good Morning America or whatever was playing Among Us. Jimmy Fallon was playing Among Us. It was like it was everywhere. You couldn't escape it.
And now it's like dead.
Yeah, which is crazy. And then Fall Guy, I think, was another big one there for a while that like nobody plays anymore.
If Splatoon keeps being a successful franchise for Nintendo, I think Splatoon 1 could be a pretty big one just because it is the first one.
Yeah.
But not that it really did anything insanely new. Um, yeah, nothing crazy about Splatoon, I guess.
Yep.
I wish. You have any more?
I thought of Fallout 4, I think, or New Vegas is like a really big turning point in that series. So I can see people going. I mean, even people now say, like, I was just looking at which one to play if I'm getting into the series, and they're like, don't even touch 1, 2, or 3. Literally go 4 or New Vegas. Like, don't even touch those ones. They're so outdated and so clunky and so bad. So I think
I
maybe in
thought
15 years, it'd be like, what are those? How do those even. Are those. Do those exist?
I thought 3 was the one that was everybody loved. Fallout 1 and 2
Oh,
are actually like they're like not even the same developers. They're like some I
yeah.
think Bethesda like bought the license or something.
It could be 3. It could be 3 in New Vegas. I don't remember, like I said, but um I think those are better than the other versions.
I think
I
this
already.
is not super modern, but we have not talked about Minecraft once. Minecraft is one of the most influential and that's like important games.
Yep. I also had that on my list. That was the next thing I was gonna say. You already mentioned Fortnite. Yeah, Minecraft is the other big one, and you got Fortnite.
Freaking this is a weird one, but what's that other game that iPad kids play? Not
Oh, Roblox.
Minecraft. Yes.
Yeah, yeah,
I don't even like that's weird because that is like a million games in one, right? Like
mhm,
it's like a
yeah,
gateway to other games, but
yeah.
like Roblox as a whole pretty historically important.
And then we didn't even mention games like Candy Crush or like Clash of
Oh my
Clans or like any
gosh.
of the mobile games because I think that's a whole can of worms that we don't want to open. But those are for certain influential. Like I have friends that still play Candy Crush and they're like on level 6,000 or something ridiculous.
Clash of Clans is a big deal. I mean, not so much anymore, but that was a big one.
Dude, I used to be super into it.
Balatro, yeah, I used to like Clash of Clans. Balatro is another modern game that kind of, I mean, it was like nominated Game of the Year last year or whatever year it was, and
Yeah.
um, I don't know. It was just like indie poke or not indie. It was like a roguelike poker game, and I don't know if there's anything historic about that, but it was insanely popular.
I have two more here. I think The Last of Us is super influential.
Certainly.
I mean, it's literally been remastered and remade on like every freaking console since it came out. It's got a TV show now. More people are talking about it than ever, which is nice. Another one I think is Baldur's Gate 3. Like, I don't know if you know, I know you don't know a lot about Dungeons and Dragons, but they recently just came up with like their new rules or whatever. So like it's the newer iteration. Actually, I think it's a step behind the newest one. Doesn't matter. Anyway, they change the rules every so often to kind of like balance it out and like add new things or whatever. And while it's not the first computer RPG, it is for sure the best one. I think it kind of made a not like a established what it could be and what it should be going forward.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. Because it is crazy. It won Game of the Year. It won like so many awards at the Game Awards. It's crazy. So I think for sure everyone's going to look back and be like, dang, they had it good. Not as good as we have now, but dang, they had it good.
I'm like trying to look at my modern games to think of some more here.
I think Breath of the Wild is also great. Tears of the Kingdom also will definitely be not inspirational, but like historically significant going forward, especially with the Zelda series in general, how it kind of broke up the kind of formula that it did. So I think there's a turning point there. Let's see, what else you got?
I don't know. I guess that's it for me off the top of the dome. Those are all very solid.
Good answers. I liked your answers. Very good.
Yeah, I mean, it would take one simple Google search and I could sit here talking about some more for another 15 minutes. Probably any game that is like popularly streamed. Dare I say Rocket League? Rocket League, kind of a big deal. RuneScape should have been in this episode.
I mentioned it before, but even when I was looking at it, it's not even like one of the first MMOs, if that makes sense. It's up there as one of the first ones, but there are like so many crazy like offshoots ones that came way before it. And even when I was like doing research, it's hardly mentioned at all as like one of the most influential or significant MMOs, which is crazy because there's two versions of it, and millions of people play concurrently. So
yeah,
whatever. World of Warcraft is another one. That one's been around for forever.
That's a big deal for sure. World of Warcraft.
League of Legends also, I believe, is up there.
Oh yeah. Just so much stuff I don't play.
Undertale's up there.
Yeah.
One of the best indie games of all time.
So
Hollow Knight might be.
Hollow Knight's a big deal for sure. Yeah, I mean, like, if you get into the indie stuff, it's like they do... Oh, I meant to say Cuphead. That was one I thought of during the episode. Cuphead.
That's a good one.
Like, I don't know... I mean, they just did the art style. Like, other than that, it was just a run and gun, a very good run and gun. But like, I feel like that game blew up because of the art style.
And I haven't heard anything about it since, but
yeah,
you're right. It was super big for a while.
Like Celeste was a big deal.
Yep.
There's probably some good like visual novels is like a genre we don't ever talk about, and that's probably. No. There's probably a good first visual novel game out there. Well, for sure. But, yeah.
Yeah, good answers.
Yeah, let us know if you didn't get to write in. You can always tell us in the comments some more that we didn't talk about. Or you can disagree with us. Tell me why save states are the greatest thing ever. Go ahead and do that in the comments.
They are. Please. Somebody write a whole paragraph about it. They are just fantastic. Time savers, really.
I think if we're ready, we can talk about the write-ins now.
All right. Let's go for it.
Daily Beating writes in.
Yep.
Okay, so the question we asked was, what's a historically significant game everyone should play and why? Daily Beating writes in, I would say the SNES Big Three are all pretty important, still being emulated today. We got Super Mario World, Link to the Past, Super Metroid. What do you think, Hannah?
I think those are all great answers. Do I think A Link to the Past is more influential than the first Zelda? I don't know. I think that could be up for debate. And same thing with Super Mario World. I don't know if that's more influential than some of the other games in the series, but good games regardless.
Obviously very important games, and a lot easier to go back to than Mario 1, Zelda 1, and Metroid 1. Like, that is very true.
For sure.
And probably just like, I don't know. But yes, I agree with what you said.
Oh, brother, you're going to make me read this long old paragraph? Here we go. So we got Michael says, I would say the original NES's Mario Bros. Or the Super Nintendo's Super Mario World. To understand one of the most innovative companies and to see what a truly polished and fun experience can be, and understand how the focus on fun and the polish around it created a genre-defining experience, wow, big words, that tremendously influenced the entire gaming culture. Much like Nintendo's games continue to innovate and polish and occasionally create genre-defining experiences, Mario Kart, Super Smash Bros., Breath of the Wild, etc., sometimes they create whole new mechanics that essentially create a genre or popularize it by making such a good experience with it. If you want to understand platformers as well as so many historical references, you need to play this. Honorable mentions, Tetris, yes, my man, CSGO, local Ian team battles? I don't know what that is.
LAN.
Oh, not Ian. Who's Ian? Pokemon Gold or Silver, also great. Silver's the bestest. And Link's Awakening.
I think so. CS:GO local LAN team battles. That is Counter-Strike Go, which is something I know nothing about, but it is like a very, very popular team battle game. And local LAN means like, multiple people in the same house playing together on their own PCs hooked up with an Ethernet cable.
Oh, I did not know that. That's like when they have like World of Warcraft parties, right?
I didn't
They're all
know
together
about
in their
those.
mom's basement.
We're really showing our age here.
I know, shit.
He says, you know me as Verdant C. I do know you as Verdant C. Michael, thank you for that write-in. That was, honestly, that was kind of touching. It almost brought a tear to my eye.
Aw.
I've never played the original Smash. I think that's a mistake of mine.
Dude, I gotta take your gamer card, man. That's crazy.
Breath of the Wild, he says, that's a good one. We didn't talk about for modern historically important games. Breath of the Wild's a big deal.
Yep, definitely.
Tho.Hill writes in, Wonder Boy 3: The Dragon's Trap on the Sega Master System, also on the Game Gear and TurboGrafx. I'd argue that it's the first genuinely great Metroidvania, releasing in 1989, only 3 years after the first Metroid and 2 years before Metroid 2. My interest is very piqued already. It's also significant because of how much Symphony of the Night ripped/borrowed from this game, playing the final boss and level of the previous game as the start of this one. Wow. Unlockable
that's fun.
animal/monster transformations, starting you off fully powered up but taking away your inventory early on. That's literally the definition of any Metroidvania. Having more RPG mechanics like shops, equipment, and stats in a Metroidvania. These are all things that Wonder Boy 3 did in a Metroidvania setting 8 years before Symphony of the Night was even released. If this game was better known or released on a platform that was more popular in the US, it's very possible that the genre would be called something more like One Droid instead. Dude, I am sold. I am all in. I'm about to freaking play this game. What a great write-in.
That was a fantastic write-in. Also, One Droid? Nice. Makes more sense than Metroidvania. It's just two titles together.
I have heard of the Wonder Boy series. I'm sure you have too, because like they have like modern games. I've never experienced any Wonder Boy.
I was about to say, there's for sure one on the Switch because it was like super hyped up about its release. Yeah. Is that like newer ones in the series or like remakes? Do you know?
That's a good question. I don't know. I'm definitely playing Wonder Boy 3.
Sounds awesome. What platforms is it on? Ooh, what are you gonna play it on?
I'm gonna emulate it for sure, but Master
Nice.
System, Game Gear, TurboGrafx 16.
Dang. All great. All right, we got. Now, I don't know if this is a joke, but Izzy says Mario Sunshine because it's the best. Duh. No, it's not. It is so far from the best Mario game, it makes me crazy.
Yeah, that was not a correct answer at all. And I hope it's a joke.
Yeah, why did you include that? No,
I don't know if
wrong
that
answer.
game has anything significant about it, actually.
I mean, the water is super cool in that, but there's so many other games that have water.
Yeah.
Wrong answer.
Teller Suit writes in, I never played it, but Dune 2 was the first game that rolled out the real-time strategy blueprint used by the Command and Conquer and StarCraft franchises. Came out
Ah,
on MS-DOS in 1992 and later released for the Amiga and Genesis.
like Dune, like the TV, like book
That's a
Dune, or
great
like
question. I'm going to find out right now. Dune 2 on the Genesis. Oh, it's a sequel to Dune, Hannah, obviously.
oh, of course, and then Dune Zero, which came after all two of these.
The Building of a Dynasty. I mean, I'm just looking at the box art. It looks like it's tied into the movie.
Dune, nice. The first Dune game, interesting. You gonna play it?
Oh, no. It says the player takes the role of the commander of one of 3 interplanetary houses, the Atreides, the Harkonnen, or the Ordos. Are those from Dune?
Atreides? Is that what they're called?
Sure.
Or is that
I've
the
never
last name?
watched Dune.
I don't know. I don't know anything about Dune. Timothy Chalamet. I don't know.
House Ordos is not featured in the Dune novels and is mentioned only in the non-canon The Dune Encyclopedia. All right, this is getting a little too deep.
Oh man, get out, abort, abort.
Lots of great write-ins except for the Mario Sunshine one. I'm sorry to break it to you.
Yeah, that one was just wrong all around, really. What were you thinking?
Thank you guys for writing in. I think we'll try Google Forms again next month. And my ultimate goal is to start having the link to the next month's episode's doc in the description of this episode. So, for example, if we could think of an episode more than like 5 days in advance, I want to have like episode 67's write-ins in the description of this podcast's description. So we'll get to that point hopefully, but yeah, that is a lot to ask.
That is wishful thinking.
All right, all good on that topic. Ready to cover some news?
Yeah.
Hannah, I just the greatest news of all time, and I'm not being sarcastic. We're getting Virtual Boy games on NSO. How are you feeling?
We're also getting like an actual Virtual Boy thing, like a peripheral. That is sick. And if you don't want to spend the $100 or whatever it is, I think that what it is, or $80 or something, you can get a freaking cardboard one, dude. How sick is that? For like $30?
I am all in on Virtual Boy being accessible on a modern platform.
Yes. That is sick.
You know, there's not that many games on this console, but I am so excited to experience it. I think this is awesome. Never in a million years would have expected this.
You know, it does kind of make me angry though. We couldn't get a freaking N64 Mini, but we got the goddamn Virtual Boy and all of its doodads and whatever. Really? You had to stop at the Super Nintendo?
The N64 has too much quality, man. They couldn't give everybody that for $100. Just like an easy way to play all the good games.
You're
no
right.
way.
We'll never see it. I mean, honestly, they could have charged me $200, and I think I still would have bought it.
Hannah, there's Rayman news. I can't. This is not a drill.
I heard and I saw, and please explain it to me.
So I got a few things, not just one. Rayman has definitely been confirmed for a little bit now to be making like a remake or a remaster. They're working on that over at Ubisoft, so heck yeah.
Wow.
But the real news here is the social media for all the Rayman accounts has been revived for his 30th anniversary. They're celebrating the legacy. They are doing things over there, making cool videos, and just like it's like reviving my guy, and it's awesome.
Aw. That is so nice. How long has he been dead?
Like 2017 is maybe earlier. It's Rayman Legends was the last one.
I thought you were about to say 27 years. I was like, oh my god. Oh, dang.
I don't know. There was that Rabbids and Mario and Rabbids game with the Rayman DLC. So I guess we got to count that.
I'm so happy for you.
Heck yeah. And one last thing, Mod Retro. All right, you know about the Mod Retro Chromatic?
No.
Those are just like 3 words thrown together, right? The Mod Retro Chromatic is a modern Game Boy Color. Basically, it's like this thing that costs a couple $100 that you can buy, and it plays Game Boy Color games. It plays Game Boy games.
Oh
and
yes, yeah, okay.
It's not the Analog Pocket, but it's like this other company's device, and beautiful screen. It's apparently just like a beautiful pixel perfect screen. That's all you need to know about that. What you do need to also know is Mod Retro is like making these like new cartridges and like new Game Boy Color games. They're getting licenses, almost like limited run. They're getting licenses for old games and putting them on modern cartridges in like these cool, pretty colored cartridges.
Ooh.
And you can just buy the games complete in box in like a new box that they make, and it's like $50 or whatever, $45, or some of them are like $35. And they're doing Rayman, the Game Boy Color version of Rayman. So that's what was announced this week.
Oh. Are you gonna get it? That's exciting.
Unfortunately, I am. This thing costs $45, and you can literally go buy the Game Boy Color version, the original authentic thing, for $45 right now, which is ridiculous.
Wow.
But because I am who I am, I'm gonna buy this, and all of their games, all the Mod Retro releases, come with a little charm that you can like, one of those like string charms that you can like hang on something. So Rayman's got this like 8-bit little charm that you can get, and I'm so excited for that charm.
That's very fun. It's like the cards. It's like how Limited Run does like the cards and whatnot.
Yeah.
That's exciting. It's just a little extra.
So I'll toss them $45 plus shipping for this freaking game.
Dang.
That's all I got for news.
Well, this is hot, fresh off the press.
Whoa.
Did you see that Doug Bowser is retiring from being the president of Nintendo North America?
I did see that. That's crazy. He's just
being
got there.
Replaced by... I know! He's been there for like 4 years. Or something like that. Not even... Yeah, crazy. But he's being replaced by Devin Pritchard. She's a woman. It's the first time a woman has ever been president of Nintendo of America.
Let's go.
That's what I'm talking about. I don't know her qualifications, but she looks nice.
She better have played every Virtual Boy game. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I wonder if they're going to test her on her knowledge. You know, at least Doug Bowser was like, yeah, man, I played Donkey Kong when I was like a kid. And he would like, you know, what if she doesn't know any Nintendo game? What if she's one of those moms or one of those older people who are like, yeah, I played on my Nintendo. Oh, your NES? Oh, no, yeah. But what did it look like? Oh, you know, it was kind of round. No, ma'am. That's not a Nintendo. You know what I'm saying?
I do. Man, as someone who's been on interviews for months now, just imagining myself being tested on Nintendo trivia, that sounds incredible. Like, I would get the job immediately.
I agree. Or maybe it's better she doesn't know anything about it. I don't know. I mean, that's a pretty coveted position. Although, I don't know how much power freaking the North American branch of Nintendo has. I think they're literally just a face.
Yeah. But sometimes that face is freaking Reggie Fils-Aimé, and you're just like a legend of a human being.
I know, that's crazy. Doug Bowser could never even touch Reggie's freaking aura up there in space. Though his last name was Bowser, so that really helped.
That's probably why he got the job.
You're right. Nintendo's
he probably changed his last name to get that job.
You know what? Has anyone ever looked into that? Can we confirm or deny that?
Hannah, what you been buying lately?
Okay, so I bought this like a freaking 2 years ago, and something that I have talked about a lot. It's Gex, the Gex trilogy from Limited Run Games. It still hasn't shipped yet, but I did get a notification. It's kind of maybe in the process of close to shipping.
What, did you just get like the standard version?
Yeah, I got you can buy it like for $10 on the eShop, or you can spend $50 to get it shipped to your house for physical. So I definitely got the better end of the deal with that one.
You
But
own that game, Hannah. The digital version is going to disappear someday. What would you do?
I would play the freaking Nintendo 64 versions that I have. That's what I would do. All jokes aside, I'm super happy to have this in my collection. I did not buy the digital ones. That came out like a year ago because I wanted to wait until I got the physical. That was even before the Switch 2 was announced. So, like, if they had come out with a Switch 2 version, I'd have been pissed.
That is a very cool trilogy that got remastered or whatever. I think that's a good one to own.
I'm very excited for it. No lizard charm, though, I don't think. So,
Yeah, for real.
Sad. What else? Oh, what else have I bought? Oh, also in the Nintendo Direct, they announced like 8, 9, like 12 different amiibo that are coming and or promised in the future. And the most expensive one is $50.
And it's your favorite game ever.
$50. I know. So guess who didn't even question buying it? Freaking me. The coolest thing about these ones is you can switch the characters on top and then it reflects it in the game. Now, how fucking sick is that, dude? $50? Crazy. But did I do it anyway? Yes, I did. Did I also buy all the other ones? Yes, I did. Did it cost me almost as much as the original Switch? Yes, it did.
You did not start this episode talking about me buying useless junk, bashing me. Don't even start with me.
You're right.
That's almost as bad as buying a Rayman from the mod retro community, though, for $45. That's pretty much
for sure way worse. Because what am I gonna do besides just look at them on my shelf? Am I gonna use them in the game? No. No, I'm not.
Dang, I wonder if those are gonna be scarce because no one's spending $50 on Amiibo.
You know what? That makes me feel a little better. So yes. What else? Honestly, that is it.
Hannah, I was ready to show off this rare Game Boy Advance game that I got in the mail. Ugh. But because you don't want to have decent internet...
I'm so sorry.
That's all right. The audience doesn't need to see it. I got BMX Trick Racer, Hannah. This is a crazy game. I know. This is a crazy game because this is something that sells very rarely on the internet. And there's this guy, Deal Tavern, I talk about on my channel. He's just like some warehouse that has old games still sealed for some reason. I don't know why he has them or how long he's had them. He just goes on eBay and my save search pops off and it's like 2 a.m. or something, and I'm just like on my phone and I see this BMX Trick Racer gets listed. Not one, not two. He has 3 copies listed, and that's just when I saw it. So there might have been more. And naturally, I texted my friends, 2 of my friends, and told them, and they also bought it immediately. It was like $20, dude. Super rare game, brand new, sealed, and he just happened to have 3 of them.
Dang. So you're gonna open it and play it?
Just like I don't know if there's a BMX charm in here, unfortunately.
Now that would be cool if it came with like a bike, like a tech deck, but with bikes. Yeah.
I also got Def Jam Fight for New York. It's a very expensive GameCube game. We are now at 533 GameCube games.
Of?
554.
Wow.
21 to go.
Dang. I feel like you've been like 20 away for like 3 years.
That's what happens when you lose your job. Thanks for rubbing it in.
Ooh, sorry.
And finally, this one's not in yet, but I sold my copy of Super Mario Land 2. It's a Game Boy game. Just the ugliest game I've probably ever purchased. I had to sell it because I couldn't look at it anymore. It had a big rip in it, and I was so ashamed of it. And I just actually last night someone accepted my offer for a very clean copy. So I have upgraded my Super Mario Land 2.
Oh man, it's not its fault it was ripped. Some stupid child did it.
No, it's never anyone's fault that something's ugly, but it's ugly as sin, and it doesn't need to be in my house.
Wow, I'm glad you got rid of it. You can sleep better at night.
I don't know why someone paid me for it. It's not like I was hiding the rip. I was like, look, if you're buying this, just know what you're buying. I make very good posts on Mercari, and I sell my stuff, and people know what they're getting, but somebody wanted it.
Well, they just ripped the box open and threw it away so they could play it. Duh.
Well, here's the thing. I sold them just the box. There was no cartridge, Anna.
No cartridge?
They said, "Ooh, ripped box. Let me buy that for my collection."
Fucking bargain, dude. Dang. Lucky them. Hey, good for them.
Tell me what you've been playing.
Well, like I said, I just got a new job, so I've been super busy. But like Baldur's Gate still has consumed my entire allotted game time. And I know that I'm coming up towards the end, and it breaks my heart because it has been such a fun adventure. But like, also I know that I could play it again, like tomorrow, and I would have a completely different experience. So that brings me such joy. But I don't want it to end because it's so good, and I know. Now, I have not played the ending, obviously. I don't know what's going to happen, but I do have a friend who has played the ending, and he was like, it absolutely, completely depends on what you do. And I was like, I know for a fact that one of my characters is going to die, and I don't want her to die because she's the coolest one ever.
Are you 100%ing this game?
No, Mike. I don't. Okay, so with this one, I don't think you can. Okay. Because there's so many, like, branches. I could be wrong. But there are so many different paths that you can choose. I can't imagine there is such a 100% completing thing. Like, you could 100% kill everybody, I assume. But, like, would you want to do that? I don't know. So, like, I've already maxed out my level. So, like, the way it is, you cap out at 12. Because once you go past 12, you get to, like, godly powers. Which I think the developers didn't want to, like, have to mess with. So they capped you out at 12. And there's just so many different paths, so I don't understand how you could. So I don't know. That's a good question. Because, like, even if I kill everyone I've ever met, right, does that mean that some characters won't, like, be introduced because I killed that character? Or, like, does that person have to be alive for me to find that person? You know what I'm saying? So, like, I have no clue. There are so many parameters that I don't even understand.
Yeah.
That I would never know. But it is so freaking good. I cannot explain to you how excellent it is.
I think this is like 3 months of hearing you talk about it, so I'm happy that it's still so good.
And you know what? I'm even going to talk about it next month, too.
Please do. I didn't mean it in a negative way. Please do.
I love it. But that is all that I've played. Have I touched my Switch, too? Absolutely not.
I've pretty much here. I'm pretty much here to wrap up everything that I talked about last month. So I beat DK Bonanza since we last recorded. Nice. I beat Dying Light 2. So last month I think I had beaten Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3. I just finished 4, the remaster.
Nice.
Truly excellent games, obviously. And Katamari Damacy Rolling Live, I think I talked about it. It's an Apple Arcade game.
Yep. I
had to really just never try touchscreen controls again. I was Xbox for hours on that game. Xbox controller, I mean.
Really?
I don't know, man. I'm not on that iPad kid level. I can't do that. But
I too am not an iPad child.
I can't imagine playing Minecraft on a phone or Roblox or whatever, dude. Nope. But yeah, I mean, Katamari Damacy Rolling Live is like the whole shtick of this one is like. I also didn't know this game was 2025 release. This actually came out this year, but. It's literally just Katamari, like every other Katamari game. You roll crap up, make your ball large, and win.
And win.
There's like time challenges, and your goal is to make something this size in this amount of time, and it's great. It works great on the phone, I guess, if you're using a controller. But the whole thing about this game is like it's kind of funny because they're kind of like parodying how live stream culture is. It's like the main characters are hosting a live stream, and that's what every level is. And so you've got like fake chats on the side of the screen the whole time. They're like, "Yes, this is so great. I want to see more of this." Yeah. So it's kind of funny, and I like it. It was a good time. Not the best Katamari I've played, I guess.
Dang, how many are there? There's like a shocking amount.
There's probably close to 10, like maybe 7 or 8, or maybe there's like more than 10. I don't know.
Dang, that is wild. Influential? Significant?
I think there's a new one coming out like 2025 maybe on consoles though.
What?
Yeah, I think it's like right around the corner. That game's about to drop.
Holy smokes.
That's pretty much it. I mean, I beat all those games, and I'm really excited. We're 1 week away from October, which means I can like start coming up with BS reasons to play like a Castlevania or any other game that even remotely signifies Halloween, and I'm excited.
Oh, that's funny. Well, it's also fall, so you can also play like Harvest Moon, Stardew Valley, any of those ones with trees and like pumpkins and stuff.
Big fan of Harvest Moon. Go watch our 3-hour Harvest Moon episode.
What the frick did we talk about for 3 hours?
I'm just assuming it's 3 hours. I think it is, though.
It for sure is. I think we covered the whole damn series.
And we played like 8 of them between the two of us. And
that was crazy.
Didn't even really enjoy it.
No, I will never pick up another Harvest Moon until the day I die. And then maybe you'll be like, oh, wait, but I never... Flatline.
Thank you all for writing in. I really appreciate it. Hannah also appreciates it.
I do, for sure. And I appreciate the long paragraphs.
Yeah, don't be such a jerk, Hannah. I don't know what your problem is tonight.
No, I do like the long paragraphs. Just don't make fun of me when I can't read them.
That was about 2 hours right there. Pretty solid.
Yeah, man. This was a good discussion video, I gotta say.
I think that we have not had a discussion this good in a long time, truthfully.
I agree. It's good stuff. What a good topic. You are the one that came up with this topic, so let's give yourself some credit there for a minute. Very good.
Thank you. I was very passionate about it.
It was very good.
Let us know your thoughts in the comments. Please join the Discord and come talk to us. We are there. And Hannah, where can the people find you?
On Instagram at GameGirlAdvanceSP.
I am everywhere on the internet. I'm on Threads, so that's how you know I'm everywhere. Holy crap, I made a TikTok. Go freaking follow my TikTok.
Oh, no.
I said I'd never do it.
Oh, man.
Let me tell you something. I'm the most annoying person in the world because I didn't want to have the TikTok app on my phone because I'm scared I'm going to watch TikTok. I literally made a TikTok profile via the desktop web browser.
I am proud of you. That's like using drugs but cleanly.
So, Bird Dog Gaming's on TikTok. It's the same crap you see on Instagram and YouTube Shorts. So you're not missing anything if you don't have TikTok. But you can also follow me there. Anyways, I'm everywhere on the internet at Bird Dog Gaming. Thank you so much for listening to episode 66, and we'll be back in October for something that probably signifies Halloween in some shape or fashion.
Yep. Bye.